Okay, welcome back to Violent Money TV. I am joined today by Mark Climaco, who is back in LFA 192 on September 13th against Victor Diaz. Obviously, as I said then, this is your return to LFA. Last time out, you were fighting on UAE Warriors. I imagine that experience was something that was motivated by just wanting to stay active. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to, stay active. I wanted to get back in there after, after coming off of that Road to UFC tournament. I just wanted to get a win under my belt. And at that time, it had been a little bit tough getting opponents for something closer to stateside. So we had been reaching out to LFA, a few other regional promotions, and unfortunately, they didn't come to fruition. And then that opportunity came up, and I was hungry to get back in there, so
I'm
got
sure
it
that
done.
came. I'm sure that came with some new experiences competing over on UAE. So does it feel nice to kind of be back in almost like your home away from home throughout your pro career so far with LFA?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely nice. I mean, my last three fights, I've had to travel across the country pretty much right before the fight and have to adjust, to the time change and all that and jet lag, which is, it's a whole obstacle in itself. And I'm happy to be, I'm here in my hometown. I get to spend fight week here at my home all week and, sleep in my own bed. So it's a definitely good switch up.
Yeah, what was that experience like doing Road to UFC? Because obviously at the time there wasn't too much stuff you could go out and watch in terms of getting a feel for what it was going to be like before you went out there. So it was a new experience for you and a lot of people watching at home, I'm sure, just to see how that was all going to play out and how kind of similar it would be to the other kind of pathways we've seen into the UFC with Contender Series and the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely was it was definitely an interesting experience having to go and travel to Shanghai and all that. And just like you said, like no one they that's the first time that they had done an event there in their PI at Shanghai. So it was cool. It was definitely an interesting event. It was good to be a part of. And once I got there, it was definitely a good experience. Just being able to be there throughout the week. The UFC PI there was amazing. They took care of us. They were able to use it all throughout the week. And so going in after that, uh, there was no UFC event after that, and then the during that fight at least. But then for the semifinals of Road to UFC, it was also a cool experience because they did have a UFC fight night going on at the same time. So I got a really good feel of pretty much how it is, to fight in the UFC and go through fight week, dealing with the media with them, and all the media pictures, all that. So it was definitely a good experience just getting that feel for being in the big stage and getting that care that the UFC is such a well-run machine, and they do a great job of taking care of their athletes throughout fight week with the weight cut and all that. So overall, it was a great experience for getting back onto the track.
Was there? It's just frozen for a sec, so I'm just gonna wait for it to sort itself out. There you go. I think we're good. Um, was there anything that surprised you in terms of making that jump to fighting on that road to UFC series? Because LFA is one of the top promotions, obviously for bringing fighters from that promotion over into the UFC. So I'm sure they do a very good job of making it feel as close to the big
Yeah.
show as possible. But was there
Yeah.
anything that surprised you about it?
No, nothing really that surprised me. It was just like I said, it was just nice to have the accommodations that they had from, the food for the weight cut. That's something that, that I'm not typically used to is them providing, your food for your weight cut, doing everything they can to help you with the weight cut throughout the fight week, and just the accommodation is just really nice throughout fight week. But nothing surprising.
Obviously, your opponent on September 13th, Victor Diaz, has had a similar experience. He was on the Contender Series. I'm sure, having that kind of footage that you can go and watch, you can see how he performed in a similar environment to what you've been through. What was your takeaways of seeing the footage of Victor and what do you make of his skill set?
He looks like a tough fighter, tough, durable fighter. Looks strong grappler. He's definitely gonna bring it, try to put the pressure on me. And in that Contender Series, it did look like he tired out towards the end, but I think they mentioned that he had taken the fight on short notice, but even in comparing his Contender Series fights to the past film on other fights that I've watched on him, I don't see much of a difference in the development of his game. His game is pretty straightforward. I think he's obviously I have to be respectful of I have to have respect for every area of his game. But I think he's pretty one-dimensional. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna try to take me down and impose his grappling on me.
I went through your Instagram ahead of this, and you posted a photo that, as far as MMA fighters posting images go, it's got to be up there with as good as it gets, right? The photo of you training in AKA with Khabib and
Mhm.
DC and Kane, like, what was that experience like? And was there anything in that time that you got to spend with them that they passed on to you that has kind of stuck with you since that day?
Well, I mean, man, I just posted that picture, but really, I've been around those guys since I started training at AKA, which was in 2016. So, I've had a wealth of, years of experience of just being around them for while they're preparing for some of their biggest fights. And yeah, it's been a great experience just being around them during their careers, but then also, you know, after their careers now they're able to pass on what they learned from their own careers onto us and to have them before it felt as though they were my teammates, and now they've moved on from that since they're no longer fighting. Now they're mentors, and I mean they were mentoring me before as well, but it's just different now that they're done and they're retired and they're able to look at it from the outside and give their insight from from what they did in their career. And I'm very blessed, to be around all those guys. They're all every time I'm able to have them in the room, I try to gain as much knowledge as I can from them, whether it be technically or even just mentally. And it's huge, definitely huge for all of us at AKA to have those guys.
Is there like a main difference that you find between those three guys in the way that they either coach or give advice? Because even though, all came through that same stable, they are very different guys, even if, they had similar styles to some degree.
Yeah. They all have their different styles and different mindsets towards certain things, and you know, it's just yeah, they all have their different, but pretty similar. They all it all ties together well. Obviously, Habib, he's very hard on us. So I would say Habib is when Habib's in the room, that the training environment is very intense and it's a good push. So it was definitely good to have him here during the training camp. He was here for about 4 weeks. So but they're all pretty similar. They all give good insight in their own ways.
I feel like this has become like a legendary thing. It was anyway when Habib started coaching and he was, on this like incredible streak of always winning whenever he was in the corner. But this has now become like part of the Habib legacy, these training sessions that he puts people through. Like
Yeah.
how tough is it compared to, have you experienced anything like it? Like, is it a level above everything else, like everyone says it
Yeah,
is?
I'm pretty sure it is. I think, and I mean, and I notice that anytime people from who aren't from here that come and train with us, and he's running the practice, even you know, even their second win, they're having to gut through it. But yeah, it's super tough. It's not it's simple, but it's tough. He makes you work, he makes you tired, he wants to put you in those uncomfortable positions. He wants you to feel what it's going to feel like, when it comes time when you have to dig deep in that fight. So it definitely will pay off. And I've been through that many times in this camp. So no matter how tough this fight gets, I'm confident that I can overcome anything and pull through and get the victory.
Your brother is also a fighter, of course. I cover a lot of one championship, and whilst he didn't
Mhm.
get the win this past weekend at the time of recording, uh, your brother Sean put on one of the best Muay Thai fights I've seen in quite some time. The opener 1168. I don't know if you were there in Denver. I don't know if that would have.
Yeah, I was there in the corner.
Oh yeah, of course. I didn't get a chance to see it on the broadcast when I watched it for the first time. But what was that experience like? I mean, it's always interesting. I think, as someone who watches a lot of Muay Thai and kickboxing, to see how that translates to the US fans that maybe it's not as familiar with. And when you have a fight like that kicking off the card, which is just an
Yeah.
absolute barn burner from start to finish, it
Yeah.
kind of sets the tone for the rest of the night.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it was a great fight. I mean, I think, you know, his style definitely, you know, is a fan favorite style. So definitely something that, American fans will want to see. So if they're trying to grow on the American side of audience for Muay Thai and stuff like that, like he's definitely one to watch. You know, I still think, it didn't go our way, but I believe that he was one punch away from knocking that guy out as well. And, they just ended up in a tough, shootout. And that's just the game when it's a different game from Muay Thai when you're fighting Muay Thai with the little gloves. And, it's different. So, but overall, it was a good experience. We're all in good spirits. I'm still very proud of him. He fought really well and, moving forward and learn from that experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, if your upcoming fight on September 13th is even a little bit as exciting as that one,
Mhm.
then people are not going to want to miss this one. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Mark. Like I said, looking forward to LFA 192, and I think I'm sure you've been told this many, many times, but a win here, and it really is time to start talking about the big show. I would imagine so. Big stuff
Yes,
coming,
sir. That's
and
the plan.
thank you for your time, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Cool. Cheers, man.